Hey, today I'm going to be sharing a very brief summary of a report generated by the TradeDog research team on the project MATIC Network, the scalable and instant blockchain transaction. But before I do, and by way of introduction, I've been investing both professionally for investment companies and personally for over 20 years. So as you can imagine, I've probably seen my fair share of analytical investment reports. Personally, I always fully recommend that you as an investor review the full report and not take anything I say as advice. I'm merely giving you my opinion, and I'll tell you at the end if I was personally intending on investing in MATIC or not. However, before we start this report review, I want to just share from my own experience that over the very many years of investing, I can honestly state that the best returns I've generated were with investment into early stage growth companies. The more developed traditional markets, these investment opportunities come in the shape of what's known as private equity, IPOs, which is initial public offering, or private placements. Typically for me, as a rule, these are very difficult to find and get access to. These types of deals are typically very early stage in their development. The companies are looking to raise capital to help provide further growth and expansion of their operations. So they do have a higher level of risk, but also they have very high potential rewards too. That's why researching is absolutely key in order to find the right companies in the many that are out there. Okay, so let's talk about cryptocurrency. This, I think we all will agree, is a market that's extremely early in its adoption cycle. And so therefore, pretty much every investment opportunity is very speculative in nature, very similar to an IPO or a private placement, as I mentioned before. So as such, the role of research and analysis into these projects is incredibly important, more than ever. This is where making really informed decisions based upon solid evidence can really make the difference between either outright failure, short-term luck, or long-term success. Now, if you will talk to any serious investor that's generated profits consistently over many years, they'll all tell you that the lack of research and analysis before you invest is the main ingredient for poor results. So now that I've made those points, let's begin with the report. Now, I don't want to spend a huge amount of time going through every single element here. Needless to say, what I would say is it's a very comprehensive report. Clearly, the guys at TradeDog have a great deal of experience in terms of creating these types of reports. There's an in-depth view on pretty much every aspect of this project. And that's really, really important. Now, one of the things I like to do in terms of just giving an overview of the salient points, I use what I call the why, how, what, and where summary. I find this is a really good way of picking up some of the best points on the potential investment, and at the same time keeping this as a pretty short and to the point kind of review. So as we go through this, I'm going to just state some of these. So why? I know that they were one of the best performing IEOs when they launched on Binance Launchpad recently. That's always a good sign, shows that there's a lot of interest in the project and strong holders. They have a very young and energetic team with a pool of some of the world's best strategic advisors. Really impressed. I think they've got some incredibly good strategic partnerships. That only stands them in good stead. I believe they have a very well managed community engagement, which is very positive in keeping a good positive feel within their potential investors. And in terms of their potential growth, I think there's some potentially very big growth opportunities. How? Looking at their roadmap, it's pretty visionary. Now, you'd expect that, but I see from their developments that they are moving in the right direction and they are continually developing. One example is looking to start offering mining and staking. So that's a really, really positive thing. They seem to have a very structured team to deal with many different functions rather than being top heavy technically or business dev. That's good. They have, I think, very good potential in growing their user base. And that, as we know, has a big impact on price action. What else? So I think also some of their, if we just scroll down here, partnerships they have with Binance Dex. Now, for me, that's a strong support. I know also they're looking, Binance offer a 14-day lending campaign on their platform. I also know that with their staking development and the fact that they're listed on Binance, there's a very good possibility that could end up being one of the projects that they offer staking rewards to. And as we all know, if you're earning add value by holding your coins on an exchange, then that's a very good positive reason for you to hold and not sell and speculate with that asset. Very similar to the traditional world where if you own a company, you may get some form of profit share. So, and dividends is a very similar thing. I really like that. I think that's the new kind of main concept within cryptocurrency that's going to take off. They have a very big global presence. They have many events, meetups, and hackathons. I think that's really, really important. What? Okay, so best layer 2 solutions to deal with slow speed issue, provide speeds as high as 65,000 transfers per second. They have a substantial fund allocation to their technical development. And as we scroll down here, as you can see here, 75% of their funds are going to technical development. This is a huge thing for me, from my experience. You know, you really want to find out what the funds that the company have is going to be spent on. You know, fund mismanagement is one of the biggest failures of small growth companies. And I think this is a really positive sign that A, they have enough money so they're not going to run out, and B, that they're focused on actually developing. Now that they are a more established company on good exchanges, you want to make sure that they're having consistent development in their product cycle. They also have some very influential adoption campaigns going with some key partnerships, as we mentioned up here. That's really, really important and very, very impressive to see. So where? For me, potentially they have a massively untapped market in Asia. They're an Indian-based project. And so those types of communities, if they get on board, they can help grow, you know, astronomically in terms of users. They are also leaders, I believe, in providing sidechain solutions across the globe. Huge positive. They have a very strong presence in user cases such as gaming, the gaming industry, IoT, and we've already mentioned staking and mining. Here's a SWOT analysis. If you've not seen that before, it's a really good kind of in-depth way, traditional standard kind of report in terms of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Always like to see that the weaknesses are resolved by strengths and opportunities are also taken care of. So they should go around in a cycle. So as an example, one of the weaknesses here is the team's quite young and inexperienced. However, to offset that, they have a very strong, experienced team of advisors. So that in itself can kind of take care of those concerns. It's very important. So as I say, it's a very, comprehensive report with a number of different things in here, such as competitor analysis, correlation vector against some of the other major projects and how they're faring, and in this case very positively. They also have a review against similar type competitors and some really, really positive stuff. One main thing I will focus on, we're in the cryptocurrency space, there's always going to be some good and bad news. To be completely honest with you, if you're not getting some FUD, then I would worry about your project being relevant. However, you do want to have a good explanation to this. Now, for those that don't know, there was some FUD in terms of having a huge growth in the stock price in a short space of time. I believe it went up 5 or 6x in a pretty short space of time. And then there was a sell-off. Now, I did look into this, and there is a very clear and simple explanation in terms of here. For me, I actually don't necessarily have an issue with that. From my experience, if you're working with low liquidity, small cap companies, typically that's generally can be a very, very good sign. It usually means that somebody with large purses coming in and trying to invest in that company while the market is slow and the prices are low. And it doesn't take much for a big fund or a big investor to push the prices up quite high if they're trying to put a sizable amount in. For me, I've seen this many, many times. It feels to me like that was more likely the cause. And as we know, when price appreciates very, very quickly, there's always going to be a pretty big reversal. But the price for some time after that stayed very, very stable, which is a sign of accumulation. And that isn't an issue for me. So my summary today, guys, the TradeDog research team have created a very comprehensive and professional report. They've also they've stated a very favorable buy signal. I mentioned to you earlier whether this was a project that I personally would invest in, and I have and will continue to. And at the end of the day, this is always about results too, guys. So how has this been performing in the recent period of time? Well, to let you know, the TradeDog team also provided this report to their inner circle membership at beginning of January, and early indications have pointed to a 60% price increase since then. So after all, we're all here to make informed decisions that create positive returns. And so I think this is pointing to the right direction, appreciation in the mid and long term. Just to finalize, guys, do your research. We did our research, #DYR. Look forward to talking to you all again soon on the next project review. Take care. Goodbye.